Well, welcome to me saying more useless stuff about Kingdom Chapter 634. More Kingdom? Less Kingdom? Who knows? So, do you see this? Do you see this? Riboku's sweating. Do you think you know why? No, it's not because his plan failed. It's because there's no Hoken to fall back on anymore. Shit has hit the fan and there's no Hoken summon left to use. Riboku's whole army has been retreating and rushing to Gyu. Mind you, with significant losses and the timer about to hit 0. So, Ousen's small elite detachment caught up because they had ditched the injured to maximize their speed. You may be thinking, wouldn't that make it easy for Riboku to crush a smaller army? Yes, it would. But that doesn't matter anymore. Ousen's not looking to engage in full-on battle. He's only looking to slow and whittle down Riboku, to run him ragged. At first, Riboku was willing to sacrifice the rearguard if it meant reaching Gyu faster. But that plan was quickly scrapped when So and Shiryu broke through. Shiryu's the big chick. So is the guy sleep together. They broke through. Being a sacrifice, the rear didn't have a noteworthy general to stop them. Riboku was forced to turn around and use a wide arrow formation in the hopes of surrounding and catching them, but the Ousen army would retreat. Ousen, Molten, and Karyuten would pull back in that order, leaving behind some stragglers who would not escape. The cycle would repeat until night. Ousen is fine with this. Every time Riboku turns around to stop the attacks, they were not moving towards Gyu. Riboku recognized this and launched a surprise attack during the night to force Ousen back. And then he sneaked off small force through the night when that was happening. And you know what? You find out Ousen is fine with that the next day. He had to slow down Riboku army a whole day, tore chunks off the rear, and ran the army ragged. Riboku's army hasn't slept for a day, has been running and fighting continuously for just as long. They're in no shape to keep on fighting. A rested army. Ousen gives Riboku props for drawing first blood at the Shukai Plains, but credits his superior pawns, the trio, for winning. Molten for taking over from Maku army after Riboku teleported and took his head off. Without Molten, that whole wing would have collapsed. And then for Ousen, he gets credit for taking down Yoon and expiring his side of the wing after Aku got incapacitated. And also for being big-brained enough to big-brained but not big brain enough for Ousen for going over to the center and helping save Ousen for being attacked by Fute and Kane. Just Fute, yeah. And of course Shin, he took out a bunch of generals. But most importantly, he took down Hoken. And he was the one who finally got to Riboku's center and pressured them and forced them to retreat. So those three were their pawns that reached the end and, they transformed. When a pawn reaches the end of the chessboard, they change. They all change it to generals, queens, or whatever. At the end, Ousen basically says, Kanki got this. How can we tell Kanki got this? He's still chilling in the chair, shit-talking everyone. What's Riboku's plan? It failed already. That's what Ousen said. His plan was smash Ousen at Shukai Plains and then liberate Gyu. Well, step 1 failed. And step 2 probably failed also. There's an open rebellion in Gyu, and the gate just opened. And most of all, Riboku is sweating. His last idea is to brute force it with a full army charge. And come on, knowing Riboku, when's the last time you heard him just tell his army to charge? Never. He's out of time, and he's forced. Because he's out of time, he's forced to discharge. And finally, there's no Hoken summon anymore. Imagine how much easier it could have been if Hoken was there. And he just did his classic one-man army night raid. Instead, Riboku is charging into the meat grinder that is Zenou. And the Gyo gates just opened. And they opened because Ousen's men burned the food. Kanki's men has been chanting that they'll be safe if they just leave. But mostly because the people have been starving inside. And the guards, they have started using violence a few days ago. There's open rebellion inside the place now, inside Gyo. They're setting fires to like the higher class people's homes. Because they think the higher class people are hiding food from them. I know it's a possibility. It's probably true. But really, most of the food is gone. Even if they were hiding food, they would have ate it already. But it doesn't matter. This is an open rebellion against the people in charge in Gyo. And that's why the gate's open now. That's probably why Kanki is chilling and he's fine. I guess he feels like he hears the scream, he sees the fires. It's working out. On another point, Karyo-ten seems like she wants to improve because she sees how good Molten Ousen is. They reacted really quickly to like the surprise counterattack by Riboku. And they retreated right away. But of course, since they spotlighted her instead of Shin, well, they did spotlight Shin being like a dumbass. Not recognizing they're getting counterattacked. So you can't totally blame Karyo-ten for anything here. Because even if she recognized it, Shin is still like all the way out there in the front fighting. And Shin and the guys barely escaped. They were the last guys out. Last guys out before, you got surrounded. So I'm just wondering, where's Banaji now? Where's the banana? We don't see him in any of these panels. Does Riboku have another secret plan? Like in the Coalition arc? Does he have like multiple plans? So I really don't think so, unless his like all-out attack is just a feint for Banaji to do something. But I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. It's like, because right now they're the ones on the time limit. And their time limit has already expired. And that's why Riboku was forced to even rush Gyo. And like take all these losses. If that wasn't a thing, there would be no rush. Plus, there's no Hoken. Still no Hoken, so like his safety is not there. I don't know, but Banaji seems pretty smart. Maybe he's doing another plan, because like it has been twice now. So Riboku has sent him out to that plan with Banaji and Gyo to like get Aku, break that special defensive formation and get Aku. He got Banaji to swing around and try to pincer Ousen earlier with Fute. That didn't work, but it looks like Banaji is like a smart guy. He knows to pull back to pressure them. Way back before, he's like pull back, and then he wanted Gyo to pull back just to apply pressure so Shin couldn't pincer Riboku on the side. But of course, Gyo, he's strong, but his mind wasn't all there. Same with Chogaryo. They were dedicated to their masters, so that's why they fell. It's like they were superior generals to Shin and stuff, and Ousen, but they weren't feeling it anymore. If they was going full blast, full power, do you really think Shin and Ousen would have like won? I don't think so. They weren't suicidal like Orochi, but they weren't going all out anymore. They wanted to be with their master also. Ousen kind of did shit talk Kanki in this chapter here, because Ousen said even Kanki can defeat Riboku in his state now. So he's basically saying, and the high praise he gave Riboku said he's on his level. That means Ousen doesn't think Kanki could beat Riboku normally. That's it.